6:30 a.m. Coming off a 16-hour trip across the world from Los Angeles, this is Guangzhou, China, the textile capital of the world. I came here to learn, to create, and ultimately to make the best clothing that I can for the world to enjoy. And that means meetings with suppliers, scouring 7 floors of fabric showrooms, hours spent revising patterns and overseeing product development. But this is the next step to becoming the best. It's not Disneyland and unicorns, but there's really nothing I'd rather be doing, to be honest. Now, typically I'm not an early riser, but the drastic time change has us all wide awake around 5 in the morning, which is perfect for the nature of this trip, being that we were here to work all day. Now, Dongguan is quiet in the morning, even in the financial district, which is where we stayed, and gave us a pretty smooth ride to Guangzhou, which is where our work began. I'd consider Guangzhou to be the textile capital of China, if not the textile capital of the entire world. The primary location of interest, Guangzhou, the world's largest fabric market. Now, the markets range for blocks on end, and in reality, you could probably spend weeks touring showrooms and never see the same one twice. So we decided to start here, where you'll find 7 floors of fabric and trim showrooms.
Knit materials is going to be some of our best bets.
Starting at the upper floors, you can find supplier showrooms full of products that you can put your hands on, and then on floor 5, the fabric selection begins. And as beautiful as this looks, finding your golden fleece amongst a sea of polyester blends and obsolete looks is absolutely grueling.
Zipper, and we'll fuck around with it with Thomas tomorrow and see what we can come up
But
with.
on the other hand, finding our trims was rather easy and much more rewarding. So after about 25,000 steps, we finally walked out with some pretty hopeful swatches and a ton of hardware and trims to consider for 2026. The next task was touring our factories of interest. We had 3 primary factories in mind to tour, and getting eyes on the facilities and showrooms would help us to determine who would be receiving our 2026 purchase orders. Who's going to get all the money this year for all the clothes that we want to sell. And after touring a few, one really stood out to us.
Gotta have the sauce. Oh, hell no.
The facilities were up to date, working conditions were phenomenal. The folks putting hands on garments were clearly seasoned seamstresses and craftsmen. Their portfolio of work was extensive, to say the least, and at the end of the day, they were clearly the best choice. So, after 2 days of touring factories, it was time to get to work. Starting with 2026 pre-production. Now, this means unpacking 3 suitcases of reference points that we'll use to guide our supplier in exactly how we want our samples made. Alright, so as you guys can see, step 1 of the whole process is to identify, our reference points, exactly what we're working with, what details we want to take from each garment. Most of these are vintage garments. As you guys know, we have a very heavy vintage influence, meaning we don't take things from trendy brands. We're looking for timeless details. We're looking for details that are going to kind of outlast all the loud, trendy, little gimmicky bullshit that you see all the other brands doing. And this is, a very important step for us. So taking bits and pieces from each one of these garments is really important. And identifying those in the pre-production process while we're making samples and getting everything done is really important, so that it can save us time on revisions. The more that we get right with these first samples, the less we have to revise, the less we have to get more samples made, the less versions we have to make before we can start on bulk production. And our priority this year is getting pre-production done as early in the year as possible, so that we can get ahead with our bulk production and really have our production schedule unlocked, so that we're never ever delaying orders. We want to always have all inventory on hand before we sell it. Previously last year, due to budget and everything, we had to sell right before we got the inventory on hand. And sometimes things go wrong and delays happen, which means shipping and fulfillment gets delayed. And we don't want any of that this year. So it's very important that we dial in pre-production, get everything perfected in the first 2 months of the year, and then we can place our bulk orders in a timely manner without rushing the pre-production process, and we can just get our shit done. That's the goal. The process is simple. Create a project, show them the call sheet with the mock-up, specifications, size charts, and then pair it with a physical reference that has a specific detail or feature that we want replicated. This could be a pattern for fitment, it could be a wash, a specific distressing pattern, a fabric, a specific hardware, it could really be anything. So this is actually a jacket I made last year, and I didn't end up dropping it because I knew it was missing something, and me and Caleb just landed on exactly what we're going to do to differentiate it. And what we're gonna do is, I actually don't want to give away the secret, but it's gonna be fucking fire. So yeah, I'm gonna finish labeling the reference points, but dude, this one's gonna be fucking big stuff. And once the details are clarified, fabric selects are made, and projects are created, it's time to get to work sampling and getting patterns made. And this can honestly take several days, if not weeks, depending on the processes needed to develop certain details. But I will say, after being here for a week and really digging deep into every corner I could find, I could say with the exception of Black Friday week in 2025, I've never learned more in the span of a week. In fact, between Black Friday and this week I've spent in China, I've learned so much that I've decided to commit to preparing a way to share with you everything I've learned and how it can be applied to your own goals and dreams. And that starts with writing in a quiet place. And my quiet place of choice this time will be Kyoto, Japan. So with that said, I've decided the date I want to deliver all of my findings over the course of Black Friday and my New Year's China trip will be January 27th. And it will be in the form of a 3-day live class. This will be completely free, and it will be engineered to walk anyone who wants to build a brand through my creative process to create products that tell beautiful stories, build impactful communities, and award you a life and career that you wake up excited to work on every day. If this is something you'd be interested in attending, you'll find the link to register in the description of this video, and in the meantime, I'll be in Japan, reflecting and writing.